Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining Srimad Bhagavatam Sangha and Attentive Japa. We'll continue where we left off last time. Conversation between Jaḍa Bharata and Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa. So Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, he was reprimanding Jaḍa Bharata for not carrying the palanquin properly. And he insulted him, called him all sorts of names. And normally Jaḍa Bharata, he was like behaving like deaf and dumb, but he felt now that he has to respond to Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, which was actually in favor of Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa. It's a boon to him. So what he now hears from Jaḍa Bharata. So let's continue from there. So this is Shukadeva Goswami saying, "O Maharaj Parikshit, when King Rahūgaṇa chastised the exalted devotee Jaḍa Bharata with harsh words, that peaceful, saintly person tolerated it all and replied properly." So that is the way to respond. You don't like just panic and say whatever comes to your mouth. Calmly, you don't react, you respond in a nice way. And then the other person will listen to you as well. Otherwise, it just escalates the situation. Nescience is due to the bodily conception, and Jaḍa Bharata was not affected by this false conception. Out of his natural humility, he never considered himself a great devotee, and he agreed to suffer the results of his past karma. So internally, that's how we should be thinking when we have in a situation that is in my past karma and I'm burning my past karma. Like an ordinary man, he thought that by carrying the palanquin, he was destroying the reactions of his past misdeeds. Thinking in this way, he began to carry the palanquin as before. So internally, he was thinking like this, but externally, he has to mediate the situation, right? That should be the approach. There's always an internal reaction and an external reaction or response. An exalted devotee of the Lord never thinks that he is Paramhansa or a liberated person. He always remains a humble servant of the Lord. In all reverse conditions, he agrees to suffer the results of his past life. He never accuses the Lord of putting him into a distressed condition, because Lord does not put anybody into distressed condition. Whatever we are suffering, whatever's happening, is to guide us forward, to elevate us. These are the signs of an exalted devotee. When suffering reverse conditions, the devotee always considers that the reverse conditions are the Lord's concessions. He is never angry with his master, and is always satisfied with the position of his master, his master offers. In any case, he continues performing his duty in devotional service. Such a person is guaranteed promotion back home, back to Godhead. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8, that's in Canto 10, "My dear Lord, one who constantly waits for your causeless mercy to be bestowed upon him, and who goes on suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, offering you respectful obeisances from the core of his heart, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim." So we accept what Krishna is offering us as always his concession, as a boon, as his mercy. Let's pray first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yad Kirpatam Hamandeshi Gulum Dintaranam Brahma Ananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram. Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotmam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyat Nashta Preshav Abadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestaki. Hare Krishna. So Shukadeva Goswami continues O best of the Pandu dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, the king of the Sindhu and Savira states, which is Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, had great faith in discussions of the absolute truth, because to a point he did understand these things. Being thus qualified, he heard from Jaḍa Bharata that philosophical presentation, which is approved by all scriptures on the mystic yoga process and which slackens a knot in the heart. His material conception of himself as a king was thus destroyed. He immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat on the ground with his head at the lotus feet of Jaḍa Bharata in such a way that he might be excused for his insulting words against the great Brahman. He then prayed as follows. So when Jaḍa Bharata spoke to him, his words were strong, with lots of conviction, with lots of realization. It's not like he just picked up some information from somewhere and he, just like us cut and pasting it. He was saying with conviction that he was saying in a way that he understood what he was talking about. And naturally, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa wasn't expecting all that from a palanquin carrier. The whole process of Vedic civilization is based on this point. We must know how to conquer the repetition of birth and death. Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa also knew the purpose of life. Therefore, when Jaḍa Bharata put that philosophy of life before him, he immediately appreciated it. This is the foundation of Vedic society. So, as well a good speaker, the listener has to be good as well. He has to have some basic knowledge and he has to have the hunger to acquire more knowledge. King Rahūgaṇa said, "O Brahman, you appear to be moving in this world very much covered and unknown to others. Who are you? Are you a learned Brahman and saintly person? I see that you are wearing a sacred thread. Are you one of those exalted liberated saints such as Dattatreya and other highly advanced learned scholars? May I ask whose disciple you are? Where do you live? Why have you come to this place? Is your mission in coming here to do good for us? Please let me know who you are." So Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa was very anxious to receive further enlightenment in Vedic knowledge because he could understand that Jaḍa Bharata belonged to Brahman family either by disciplic succession or by birth in a Brahman dynasty, as stated in the Vedas. Rahūgaṇa was accepting Jaḍa Bharata as a guru, but a guru must prove his position not only by wearing a sacred thread, but by advancing knowledge in spiritual life. So guru is not just about appearance, guru is also about delivering the spiritual knowledge. It is also significant that Rahūgaṇa asked Jaḍa Bharata which family he belonged to. There are two types of families, one according to dynasty and the other according to disciplic succession. In either way, one can be enlightened. The word shukal refers to a person in the mode of goodness. If one wants to receive spiritual knowledge, he must approach a bona fide Brahman guru, either in the disciplic succession or in a family of learned Brahmins. My dear sir, I'm not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I don't care about the punishment of Yamraj, the superintendent of death, nor I am afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuber. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahman. I am very much afraid of this. So this is the king speaking, saying that he is very embarrassed that he offended a Brahman unknowingly. And, he is not afraid of death or punishment, but, it's not his nature to insult a Brahman, especially qualified Brahman. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Dashvamedha Ghat in Prayag, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaishnava. He compared the Vaishnava Prad to Hathimat, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters the garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. So these flowers are our assets that, through the bhakti that we have created the fruits and flowers, and they be spoiled just by insulting or offending a Vaishnava. Offending a Brahman is very dangerous, and this was known to Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things: thunderbolts, fire, Yamraj, punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered serious as offending Brahman like Jaḍa Bharata. Therefore, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of Brahman Jaḍa Bharata, just to be excused. Excuse me. My dear sir, it appears that the influence of your great spiritual knowledge is hidden. Actually, you are bereft of all material association and fully absorbed in the thought of the Supreme. Consequently, you are unlimitedly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Please tell me why you are wandering around like a dullard or a dull person. Oh, great saintly person, you have spoken words approved by the yogic process, but it is not possible for us to understand what you have said. Therefore, can't explain it. So he wants to hear more from Jaḍa Bharata. Saintly people like Jaḍa Bharata don't speak ordinary words. Whatever they say is approved by great yogis and those advanced in spiritual life. This is the difference between ordinary people and saintly people. The listener must also be advanced to understand the words of such exalted, spiritually advanced people as Jaḍa Bharata. Just like Bhagavad-Gita was spoken to Arjuna, not to others, Lord Krishna especially selected Arjuna for instruction in spiritual knowledge because Arjuna happened to be a great devotee and confidential friend. And Lord Krishna did say that to Arjuna, that I am telling you this because you are my devotee and my dear friend. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You are the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. So you have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are a direct representative of Kapila Dev, the incarnation of God and the plenary portion of knowledge. I am therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? So he's accepted Jaḍa Bharata as his spiritual master, and he's inquiring from him. First, he pays his obeisances, and in a humble way, he's inquiring now more knowledge. And that is the way, and that is the humility of the king as well, because you would think, oh, I'm a king, why should I be asking this person, especially in front of other people, all the laborers standing there, why should I bring my position down? But now Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, it was more important to him to have knowledge than about his position. Jaḍa Bharata was a perfect yogi. He was formerly the emperor, Bharat Maharaj, and he was now the most exalted personality among learned sages and the master of all mystic powers. Although Jaḍa Bharata was an ordinary living entity, he had inherited all the knowledge given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Dev. He could therefore be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like we did with Kapila Dev. Although Kapila Dev was, he was the Shakti Avaishya avatar, he was empowered by God and accept him as God. He could therefore be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In his stanzas, the spiritual master, Sakshadritavena Samasta Shastre, and exalted personality like Jaḍa Bharata is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he fully represents the Lord by giving knowledge to others. This is why a lot of plenary portions we consider them as God, because they are representing God. Just like the spiritual master, we consider our spiritual master as a representative of God. Therefore, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa concluded that it was appropriate to ask him about Atma Tattva, the spiritual science. Tad Vijnanartham sa Gurum eva Bhigechat. This is Vedic injunction is This Vedic injunction is also confirmed herein. If anyone is at all interested in knowing the spiritual science, which is Brahma Jigyasa, he must approach a guru like Jaḍa Bharata. Is it not a fact? So Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa continues. Is it not a fact that your good self is the direct representative of Kapiladev, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? To examine people and see who is actually a human being and who is not, you have presented yourself to be a deaf and dumb person. Are you not moving this way upon the surface of the world? I'm very attached to family life and worldly activities, and I am blind to spiritual knowledge. Nonetheless, I am now present before you and I'm seeking enlightenment from you. How can I advance in spiritual life? So this is a very good question from Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa. This must be a question that has been contemplating for a long time in his mind, but now he has the opportunity to get the answer. So everyone is encased within the body. Since the body is never identical with the soul, the bodily activity are simply illusory. In the association of such a sadhu as Jaḍa Bharata, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa came to the awareness that his activities as a royal authority were simply illusory phenomena. He therefore agreed to receive knowledge from Jaḍa Bharata, and that was the beginning of his perfection. And then he continues to say, you have said, I'm not fatigued from labor. Although the soul is different from the body, there is fatigue because of bodily labor. And he appears to be the fatigue of the soul. When you're carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. So he is telling about his doubts now, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, and he wants some answers. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual. But although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things that is visible and experienced. As such, even though material activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. So we cannot say this world is untrue. Or it is true, but it is temporary. King Rahūgaṇa continued, my dear sir, you have said that designations like bodily fatness, thinness are not characteristics of the soul. That is incorrect, because designations like pain and pleasure are certainly felt by the soul. You may put a pot of milk and rice within fire, and the milk and rice are automatically heated one after the other. Similarly, due to the bodily pains and pleasures, the senses, mind, and the soul are affected. The soul cannot be completely detached from this conditioning. So we're getting all these questions from Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, and I guess the answer will come next time. My dear sir, you have said that the relation between the king and the subject, or between the master and the servant, are not eternal. But although such relationships are temporary, when a person takes the position of a king, his duty is to rule the citizens and punish those who are disobedient to the laws. By punishing them, he teaches the citizens to obey the laws of the state. Again, you have said that punishing a person who is deaf and dumb is like chewing the chewed or grinding the pulp, that you said there is no benefit in it. However, if one is engaged in his own occupation duty as ordered by the Supreme Lord, his sinful activities are certainly diminished. Therefore, if one is engaged in his occupation duty by force, he benefits because he can vanquish all his sinful activities in that way. So whatever you have spoken appears to me to be contradictory. So Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, he understands that Jaḍa Bharata, he's making a lot of sense in his, he's trying to tell me something, but he is just produced a lot of doubts in his mind, and he wants to understand further, how are you saying what you are saying? Oh, best friend of the distressed, I have committed a great offense by insulting you. I was puffed up with false prestige due to possessing the body of a king. For this, I have certainly become an offender. Therefore, I pray that you kindly glance at me with your causeless mercy. If you do so, I can be relieved from sinful activities brought about by insulting you. Oh, my dear Lord, you are the friend of the Supreme Personality Godhead, who is the friend of all living entities. You are therefore equal to everyone, and you are free from the bodily conception. Although I have committed an offense by insulting you, I know that there is no loss or gain for you due to my insult. You are fixed in your determination, but I have committed an offense. Because of this, even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay due to my offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnav. So Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa is very repentant, and he has got a lot of doubts, and he wants to know, how are things meant to be, because he has taken the position of a disciple. Before he was talking like a king, but the words of Mahārāja Bharata have pierced his heart and woken him up from his position. And now he's thinking, well, if I remain arrogant, then I'm not really going to learn anything. If I surrender to this exalted sadhu, then there is a lot here to be learned, and it can change my life, not only this life, but my journey forward as well. And he wants to take full advantage of this situation. And I'm just trying to think, Kapil Muni, he helped his mother, and then his mother helped so many other people. So he's comparing him to Kapiladev. He recognizes the knowledge, the Vedic knowledge that he's imparting. And so he has a lot of questions. Maybe he had these questions before in his mind as well. Now he has the opportunity to get the answers. So thank you all so much for joining, and nice to see everyone. Hina Mataji, Ishani Mataji, I hope you're feeling well. Jai Prabhu. Oh, Hare Krishna. So we have our Nitai Charan Prabhu joining. Dandus Pranam Prabhuji, Partha Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, and Prem Prakash Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, and we'd love to hear. We have exalted devotees here today as well. You're all exalted. I am learning from you all. And please share what you think, any reflections, any realizations, anything that stood out, please share. Where is our Sarveshya Mataji? We will hear from Sarveshya Mataji. Or shall we hear, sorry Mataji, shall we hear from Nitai Charan Prabhu first today? Hare Krishna. Okay. Maybe Sarveshya Mataji then. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sarveshya Mataji, please carry on. Mataji is still on mute.
Hare Krishna. It's very nice topic today, and it's about how the Vaishnavas act. And Jaḍa Bharata was a pure Vaishnava, and he was acting like a mad person because he didn't want to repeat what he done in his previous life as a deer. And he was very spiritually advanced. And he was a perfect yogi. He represented the Lord by giving knowledge to Rahūgaṇa and imparting knowledge on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means what he learned is from acharyas from the previous birth, and what is giving the knowledge to Rahūgaṇa. And that's how we got these acharyas in our ISKCON. I mean, there is a parampara system, and they've got knowledge for them, gurus, and then they imparting knowledge to us. And Jarat, so this Rahūgaṇa, when he was listening to Jaḍa Bharata, by his speech, he could recognize that he's a very exalted person. Because you can't, it is a sign that you can't tell a person unless he speaks. And so by his speech, he was very motivated, and he liked it. And he was going to some places to have some spiritual knowledge. So by the grace of God, he met Jaḍa Bharata. And when Jaḍa Bharata started speaking, he liked it very much, and he got interested. And he said to them, it's like, want to know more about spiritual life. And then Jaḍa Bharata was telling about the spiritual life, what is Chudivamani, when we are not body, and we are pure soul. And our mission is to go back to Godhead. And that's the instruction. That's the instruction he was giving to Rahūgaṇa. The instruction is given in Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. Same instruction. And so Rahūgaṇa was very pleased by hearing the knowledge, and he wanted him to say more and more. He was very interested. And so that what we had in this, what the conversation between the two exalted persons. So this is that's what I learned, that what Jaḍa Bharata said to Rahūgaṇa. And in this life, so we had a lesson to learn. When any exalted devotees, and they try to say you anything, you must follow that. And that is the Vaishnava Prad, and Rahūgaṇa was thinking about some Aparad, Brahman Aparad or Vaishnava Aparad. Vaishnava Aparad is more worse than the Brahman Aparad. They say if you do a Vaishnava Aparad, you have to go and ask for forgiveness. If the person can't forgive you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that when we go to the person, when the person is not looking, you take his shoes and put it in your head. And that's why you are forgiven by Vaishnava Aparad. That's it's like a mad elephant. So we have to be very careful in this world to not to make any Aparad, Vaishnava Aparad. And but Jaḍa Bharata was very kind. He excused Rahūgaṇa, and he started giving him instruction, giving him knowledge about the Supreme Personality of God, and what is God doing, what to do in this world, how to live. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, very good points, Mataji. What you said about you can only recognize a person once they speak. Somebody could really dress up in a suit and everything and look very educated, have a pen here, at the top pocket, or have lots of pens. And then when they speak, you find that person, is illiterate, or his language is very poor. So it's very important when they speak, then you understand the reality. And and although Jaḍa Bharata, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa must have seen his sacred thread already, but he did not show him any respect until he spoke. So although he was a Brahman, you could see he's wearing a sacred thread, he's a Brahman, but he did not show him any respect. But when he found he's a Vaishnava, then that's when he panicked. He said, "Oh, I have offended a Vaishnava." And you're right, offending a Vaishnava is more serious than offending a Brahman. And he was very merciful to Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa by, revealing his identity to him, that he was a self-realized person. But at the same time, it was very good of him, because what good men do, others will follow. So if he can educate the king, he'll be educating so many other people in the kingdom. Whatever the king is doing, the other people will follow him. So by educating the king, he will educate the kingdom as well. So, it's very, very, very useful to be in that situation for Jaḍa Bharata to remember he used to be king himself. He understands how how the system works. So, he imparted the knowledge to him, and we will discuss more next week. Then that will benefit so many other people as well. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Partha Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So much to learn from this particular pastime. It's very nice. It also spoke, already Mataji said so many points, and it also speak about the spiritual master. It should be coming from a disciplined succession, and not just the speaker, but even listener should also have some knowledge. Then he will be able to understand when the speaker is actually giving the discourse. And he asked the questions immediately to Bharat Maharaj. So that means he was actually contemplating on them. And on the back of his mind, those questions are already there. Like he might be thinking that how he knows that very clearly, that how he should be leading the life, but what actually he is doing as well. So that's an opportunity for him. Lord created an opportunity by bringing Bharat Maharaj into his life. And as soon as he saw him, he started asking questions. So that shows the mercy of the Lord. That's it, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. And yes, you're right. It shows that you don't have to be a Brahmin to be a spiritual master. You can be a spiritual master. As long as you have knowledge and you are connected to the disciplic succession, you are a spiritual master. Anybody can be a spiritual master. We are all gurus in the making. Okay, I'm not there. We are all work in progress. But we are all gurus in the making. So anyone can be a guru once he has realized and is practicing that the knowledge as well. Thank you so much. Praveen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, very nice class. Thank you so much. Yeah. King Rahūgaṇa, yes, he was very humble. So he's realized his mistake and he apologized. And so we need to learn that, like, if we realize we made a mistake, we should accept it and ask for forgiveness. And then, like, it tells you about the qualities that the listener and the speaker, they should be both of a certain level so they can understand. And listening is very, very important because that's the beginning of devotional service. So if you listen, then only you can attain the perfection of life. And like when you perform a devotional service, you are guaranteed to go back to Godhead and you don't need to worry about anything. And the word we read was Jaḍa Bharata, because that's the rightful claim. So Krishna, he takes care of that and we don't have to worry about anything. And yes, and we'll look forward to the answers given by Jaḍa Bharata next week.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Prem Prakash Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. One second. Okay. So we got listening, Shanimati listening, Jai Prabhu is listening. Jai Prabhu has just put just highlighting one point about the soul. The king argued that some of the things that Jaḍa Bharata said about the body and soul were not correct. For example, he said that if the body feels pain, the soul will feel pain too. The soul has nothing to do with the body, but due to ignorance, one identifies with the body and feels pleasure and pain due to bodily pleasure and pain. For example, the owner of his car separate from the car. If the car is damaged, the owner will only feel pain. If due to attachment, he identifies with his car. Absolutely right. Yeah, so the soul does go through the emotions, But how to, it's all about attachment, because we attached, we go through the emotions. So it's all about consciousness, in what consciousness we're in, how we understand things. Do we think we are the proprietors, or someone else is the proprietor? That's the knowledge. That's the difference between a materialist and a spiritualist, how they understand things. So thank you so much. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything. Otherwise, we can go on to doing 2 rounds. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll do 2 rounds. Thank you all so much for your input. Swashi Mataji, would like to start the first round, and Premi Mataji, second round, please. Hare Krishna.
Namo